What is up? What is going down? Yo, welcome back. Call to Pen HQ here on Wacky Wednesday. What's going on? Brian, Tim York, Rich Clark, PMG, Jeff L, the usual suspects up in the house, getting ready to make some trouble with the big man, Big Mouth, Big Apple. Let's get it. At John Laghezza on that funky bird app, formerly known as X or vice versa or something. Oh boy, first mistake. As you can tell, I'm falling apart. That Jets game, the second day off the voice, is really killing me. Sadness, the Jets sadness is starting to really set in now. You think I'd be used to it at this point. All right, everyone, let's do it. It is a full slate, but spread throughout the day. We're going to start with the PM stuff to keep our commuter crowd in mind. And then maybe we'll circle back at a little parlay action. I did pretty well yesterday. Go figure. I'm usually ranting and raving about how volume, is kind of king in MLB betting. That you're always going to be better. Not trying to be too cute and letting the probabilities play out. But with football, and as I'll say, you do less work. I just 4 plays before the kick in the nids. It's just brutal, says OPMG, my man. How we doing? So generally, I have found historically, again, as we wrap up, I think it's important to try and leave everybody with lessons every day. I've found personally that tightening up the ticket has actually not been beneficial for me. Meaning, getting away from volume, only doing 1 play, 2 plays, because then if you kind of run cold, you're not making any money at all, right? They're goose eggs. And then I think it actually begs the greater question of how are you determining, the single play? Like, do you have, and if you think about it, you're going to get yourself into spots. BGC, what's up? Again, thank you so much, my man. Brian, we're talking about volume versus less volume. Lately, I've been cutting down my plays, 2, 3, 4 plays. And because of football, just not getting back to do all the granular hitting stuff that I love to do. I fill every second with work. It's just depending what it is. And if you become more conservative and begin to limit your plays down to 1, down to 2, if you run cold again, then you're not making any money at all. And then, like I said, the greater question is, how do you determine, what is the best play? Do you have a method that you use, that there's actually, you raise the probability of outcomes happening? Because if that's the case, then you should only be doing that, never losing, pretty much, right? Again, to people, this is where always, the boomers kind of bump heads a little bit. I tend to operate off the working theory that most of these games are a lot closer to 50-50 at the start than we'd care to admit. And other people don't, you see the implied probabilities in some of these things, and I don't know, the variance of baseball is insane. We see it constantly, right? How are those Houston Astro backers doing yesterday with Verlander and the night before, right? It is what it is. Baseball is going to be ups and downs, peaks and valleys. The things we do. Ronald Sanders, good morning. Love to see new names. Thanks for grabbing the sword and the shield, being part of the failings here at Betting Baseball's version of 300, where we are not huge, right? I don't imagine me giving out this kind of information and I'm deluding myself, right? We're not huge, but are we freaking fierce? Are we smart? Are we cutting edge? Are we innovating? If the answer to all those things are yes, I think the rest will take care of itself. While we're on that, talking about the quality of the show, to our good friend, Mr. Cooper on the 1s and 2s, Shay, we really, really, really appreciate you. All the hard work he does. Think about how good he has to be at his job to make me look good and sound smart. Ain't easy, man. All right, let's get into the games. All the stuff we do again. A couple minutes just to not fooled around. I'd leave a couple feathers in the cap for all the new listeners. We appreciate you got us past that 1,000 subs we were hoping for in a part of the season where a lot of, frankly, baseball shows have wrapped up. Right? It's almost like after the All-Star break, they wane, right? They pull back, and then they I got fantasy leagues to win. I got 3 more weeks of betting on the schedule. Like, granted, the last couple of days, maybe I'll be out, but we got starters, we got competitive teams, we got betting edge here. We're doing very well. Follow me on Twitter at John Laghezza, and all this stuff is free right now. All the data that you hear, team totals, implied team totals, algo scores, pitching stats, bullpen stats, all this craziness that I'm hawking at you, nonstop, split included. It's all free. Bookmark the Google Doc. Rest of the season from me to you. Thank you for hanging with us here at Call to the Pen. All right, let's get into it. Jay, I need just 1 second because, I pull my data off of the MLB app. Right, it's a good place to. But then sometimes off the show, I'll do reads off RotoWire, and I feel like I have my scheduling confused. I don't want to lose one because I only have 4 early games. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, here we go. I had one out of order. So I'm going to start with the Nationals. Jackson Rutledge making his debut. I want to get his stuff up. It's kind of brutal. And I guess that's kind of the part of the year we're at where we mentioned that, like, teams kind of, not saying necessarily waving the white flag, the Nationals are waving the white flag, but to see what they have going forward, and that's what you should be doing as a team, but you end up in these spots where you're bringing up guys like Jackson Rutledge. All right, so he pitched through 2 levels this year, 68 innings in Double-A. He was pretty good. Okay, limiting home runs, just enough Ks, not too many walks, keeping the ball down, all the stuff we look for, gets the promotion to AAA, 50 2/3, but it's a 4.5 ERA, 1.5 WHIP. He has a 6.4 xFIP. Tons of fly balls, not a lot of home runs. That's going to, likely regress with a high hard hit rate in the majors. I never heard of him. That doesn't mean much. I'm not like a sick prospect guy, but, I like to think I know about the good ones. Against the Pirates and Colin Selby. If you're saying who, it's like exactly, right? These games I really had not much interest in. Selby, I think we're just going to open, maybe most one time through. 8.6 ERA, 1.75 WHIP. Indicators a lot better than that, right? Generally, it's going to be the case. Not very good. More than 2 home runs per 9. Not something the Nats generally are very good at swinging for power, but they do get it done sometimes. Because they're not striking out, tons of contact. Same for the Pirates, number 1 in zone contact. Also pairing it with top 5 in hard hit rate. This is the Pirates last 500 PAs. Expect for them to maybe take a tick up, right? Aren't these exactly the signs we're talking about? So this is one of the things I think we've been very good at, and hopefully another one of those lessons you might take with you going forward. Teams, players move in waves, up and down. Good teams, higher, longer wave. But even bad teams sign up, I generally like to look for upticks in disciplinary stats, which makes a lot of sense. Working counts, swinging at better pitches, hopefully. Discipline will raise contact rates. Contact begets good contact, which hopefully portends production. Holy crap, that sounded smart. See what happens when you stay sober at 9 o'clock in the morning, kids? So yeah, sometimes it's a lesson to be learned when you're looking at these games rather than not trying to throw up thinking about having to bet on them. I'm not touching this one. Let's just move it on. But to give you an idea, maybe, things to look at and how to read these boards, maybe like a Pirate team totals. Geez, the Pirates at like 4.5 somehow? I should have mentioned that. That's something I've tried to learn from some of the people here. Again, we call this, it's not just boasting, call the show the restaurant where the chefs eat, because we have, legitimate professional handicappers swing through here to see what's going on, see what's up. Drop a dime, see what the temperature where I'm at, maybe check the algo scores and stuff. It is 4.5, and it's even money. Man, if the Washington bullpen stats are as bad as I have in the top of my head, the ERA is down below 4, but if the Sierra's up near 5, only 17% K. You know what? I think maybe I like that. Let's go after the youngster in the debut. 4.5 at even money. Remember, a lot of times 4.5 is going to cost you minus 130. Price always at, at least a part of it with the analysis. All right, let's move it up from there. That was enough on that game. That game's a disaster. Next up, it's Drew Rom. Man, I missed an easy opportunity. Obviously, this guy's nickname is CD. It's Drew. CD Rom. plus 150 dog on the bump for the Redbirds from St. Louis against Kyle Gibson and those Blackbirds with orange vest, those Orioles minus 170 dog. Orioles just really kind of rectifying a lot of these Jag pitchers now. Again, Gibson, we mentioned him because we did cover him 5 days ago. He's not nearly as bad as some of these surface stats might be screaming at you. 5 ERA through 168 innings. I know it's not bad, but all the indicators are at like 4.5. It's a 4.4 Sierra and a 4.6 expected. The walk rate down below 7. Miss rate down below 6. Ground ball rate at 49. Hard hit rate 31. A lot of things that we actually do like, right? We try to kind of see past it. Believe it or not, it's weird. He's been bad at home. You should be good at home. Drew Rom's been terrible on the road. Rom, with his 7.8 ERA, 2 WHIP on the season, has a 350 batting average allowed, north of 1,000 OPS allowed on the road. Gibson, with the 8 ERA last 40 days, indicators at 4 or better. Excuse me. This might be the same problem I've had with these type of games. So the public and the books might get a hold of bad teams. The Cardinals are objectively bad. But the problem is the offense is good. Like pound for pound, they're good. And they're even showing a few signs right now. They were in the tank. They're starting to get up off the mat. Again, what do you think is at the center of it? What do you think is at the center of it? 20% K to 9.5 walks, single-digit swing and strike, 30% chase rate. Those are all, top 8. 44% fly ball is top 3. 40% hard hit, top 10. Plus, they're running 16 steals, last 500 PAs. Cardinals starting to figure it out. Contact and running, Baltimore offense doing the thing as well. 3.016 batting average, 870 OPS last 500 PAs, 89 zone contact, 46 pull. That's a 370 team WOBA. Orioles really not to be messed with. So maybe this one is probably more of an over, if anything. St. Louis bullpen had been really bad. They've showed some signs. I'm not a fan. Baltimore bullpen is really good. This might be one of those rare cases. If I was going over, it might be F5. Jays at 4.5. 4.5, I think we'll go for it. If it's 5 or north, I'm going to just fade. Again, I know runs are wonky, and these may not necessarily be the bullpens we're looking for. Jay's got Bet Stamp up, where we do our shopping, get the best lines and stuff. Those are live links, by the way. Yeah, it's 5.5. See, I was slow to that. I have to manually grab these lines on my stuff, so sometimes they will be off or they will be slow, like they don't update. So just leave this one out. You don't want to chase 6 runs or 5. You don't want to do that. Just move it up. Next one, just more Garbaggio. Maybe we'll eat some chalk here. We haven't really done it, but again, you kind of get into that part of the season, right, where we mentioned it, the kind of disparity, right, the separation, not just in talent in teams, but just trajectory, right? So I've mentioned there are teams like the Reds, who should be competing, but, I was heard it on RotoWire today, so I just want to hat tip, be citing people. Erickson and Zinke on RotoWire, great podcast, obviously, if you're still doing fantasy baseball. Even if you're just betting, I just like to stay in tune with the science of it. People that really have their finger on the pulse. And it's true, if it wasn't for these, maybe even one, immense winning streak for the Reds, they're probably not in this conversation that they're in. Trying to compete, plus they keep losing pieces, right? Lodolo down and Green is down. So you kind of look at the Reds as competing, but now they're running out. Connor Phillips, I guess he's going to open with his 9.6 ERA, 1.7 WHIP. It's only 5 innings, so you don't want to overreact, but it's just kind of a sign of the times. This is a team kind of trying to get in the playoffs. It's probably not going to happen, and I like the Reds. Go to Detroit Rock City, 8 Mile, to face Erod and the Tigres. Erod's been objectively excellent. 3.18 ERA with a 1.13 WHIP, 6.13 OPS. Indicators agree. Expected ERA 3.8, 24K to only 7 walk. All this kind of stuff we like. The ball rate down at 34 with the elevated first strike rate. He wins in the zone, 83% in zone contact rate. Limiting hard contact, just kind of doing everything you'd hope for with the plus 40% ground ball rate. All the good stuff. ERA's below 4 last 40. Indicators not necessarily buying it. But given the larger sample and the skill set, I think it's okay to stick with Rodriguez. Detroit, the offense is not good. Cincinnati's isn't great either, but they've really struggled against lefties. 287 expected WOBA last 30 against Southpaws. That's not any good. Not that Detroit is much better. So you kind of have to get him at the end. Detroit bullpen has actually looked pretty good as of late. 3.6 ERA in the last 52 innings. It's a 1.12 ERA, 2.12 BA. Cincinnati bullpen's also been correcting, though, some of the underpinning stuff not as nice. The 4.5 Sierra masking the 3.4 ERA. Or I guess it'd be the other way around. Man, I really like Detroit to win. Maybe it's like a pair. Maybe this is a pair drop. Player props about up in the house, our boy Justin. Right, I mean, I literally just mentioned this is the restaurant where the chefs eat for a reason. Legitimate people in the space, forward thinkers, successful bettors like my boy Justin. Make sure following Player Props Savant. God, player underscore prop. Just, you could search past the prop. Also, is their show on YouTube, him and Monotone Football. Obviously, friends and guests. Player prop, I'm looking at you, home dog. Once baseball's in the rearview mirror, let's get me on for football. Let's stop yelling about some pigskin. He wants to know, are the A's kryptonite to the Astros? I couldn't believe what I was watching. Man, that was also right on cue. You know, we did not script this, but I literally just mentioned the waves. It's all about the waves. It sounds so corny. It sounds so corny, but it's all about the waves. And the Astros were freaking peaking. We've been talking about this for the last couple of weeks. 400 team WOBA, last 500 PAs, plus 300 batting average as a team, plus 930 OPS as a team. Unsustainable, even for really good offenses. They're going to downwave. That's just part of it. So I just think it's a matter of timing. And the Oakland offense, I think, is undersold. I don't have to tell my boy Player Props Savant about Zach Geloff. Zach Geloff is it might be my favorite player right now. I wish there was I don't even know if I could get a jersey. I gotta look that up. I'd be the only person with the Zach Geloff jersey in Brooklyn, New York. I absolutely guarantee that much. So I like Detroit. Maybe got to pair it. Now that I'm looking at it, I don't know if I want to pay the juice. So I'll keep him in mind. Next up, it's the Bravo. Spencer Strider on the bump, minus 175 favorite. On the road against Christopher Dirty Sanchez and those fighting Phils. You know, Strider it's amazing to look at this board and say the guy competing for the Cy Young that people are complaining about because of the 3.83 ERA. Spencer Strider is actually screaming for positive regression. 109 whip, 637 OPS. XFIP, K-Walk ERA, expected ERA, Sierra, all at 3 or below. Again, we mentioned this on the show. People often ask me about reading indicators, which is the best. Expected ERA is the most descriptive. You should never use one. I like to look for accordance, agreement. I like that. That's what we want, confirmation. When Sierra and expected ERA are both over 5, you go get it. When you find 2 indicators below 3, these are really great numbers. 38% K to only 8 walk. Here's a 30K minus BP. 34 CSW with a 32 ball rate, 40% whiff, 68 first strike, 38 O swing. There's your bully metric for the day. And your first strike to chase rate, gets you over 100. The man's a bully. He gets up, he gets ahead, he makes you chase his junk. Spencer Strider is the damn GOAT. I can't believe people complain about this guy. 76% in-zone contact. Think about that. 3 out of 4 ball. Yeah, that's insane. He is insanely good. 664 OPS on the road for the season. Sub 3.5 whip. Again, 4.7 ERA last 40 days. Indicators not buying it. 125 stuff plus on the Saris model. Dirty Sanchez, he's been pretty good. You know, living off the control, which you got to love. 4% walk rate, 33 ball, validated there, 59 ground ball. But how could you look to go up against Atlanta? So I've been enjoying kind of watching these games. Atlanta bullpen starting to struggle a bit. These all have playoff fills and stuff. You know, even as a handicapper, I do enjoy actually watching baseball. Player prop says, John, who's a Cy Young? I'm a Strider stand, but it's tough. Snell whip is wild, but walks. The K rate is wild. I don't think it's determined yet, which is fantastic. For me, it's Strider by a mile, but I also have to rein in the advanced stat stuff because I know that that's not how these things get decided. But for me, it's Strider by a mile. You heard it. It's the ultimate profile. He's built in a freaking lab. Control, plus swing, miss, all the strikeout stuff. He's so freaking good. He's so good. First name on the top of your head. Who's going to go out with 15 Ks in 8 innings? You know, it's Strider. So for me, he's my guy, but I get ERA is something that's a driving force. They don't always want to hear expected this and that, advanced this and that. You know, how did it actually play out? So I'm off this one. These are, again, they're a lot of fun to watch. I want to roll over to the algo. I've got Atlanta winning. I've got Atlanta through 5, but not enough to pay for the 175, so I move it on. Also, I don't think I have the confidence enough because the Philly offense is rocking right now, bro. Rocking right now. I mean, again, I put up all this data. I really encourage you to go check it out. It's free. So shilling aside. If you were to strip the names, you might not know who was who. Philadelphia. 812 team OPS, 12% walk rate as a team, last 500 PAs, 45 pull, 42 hard hit, 10.5 barrel. That's a 351 team WOBA. Awesome. Hitting lefties, hitting righties. I mean, doing everything. Same to the Braves. Goes without saying. 850 team OPS, leading the league in home runs, runs scored, and K rate. I mean, and K rate? And K rate? Honestly, one of the things that, yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm with you on Toronto. One of the things that I think we really should be hat tipping about the greatness that is Ronald Acuna Jr., El Abusadore. My dude, yo. Yeah, you mentioned Steele. We forgot he's been great as well. He'd be the surface stat guy. I don't know what the odds look like. It might be worth splitting a bet. I'm not sure what they look like. Steele might be worth a bet because he has the chance to get it. For me, it's Strider. It's not. They're not the same. Like for me, I remember I wasn't even in on Steele. It's not that they want to take an L. He's great. I was lost on that one. I wasn't into the fastball shape. I'm really curious to dive into it in the offseason. But right, it's Steele or Strider. For me, it's Strider. Really, it's not even close, to be honest. Okay, next up, it's the Walker Texas Rangers Jomo Jordan Montgomery on the bump, plus 105 slight dog on the road north of the border against the Bluebirds. Yusei Kikuchi. I say, holy crap, they fixed this guy? Waiting for my private chat with Jay so he can tell me how bad the Jays suck. Absolutely love you, man. Jordan Montgomery, 3.6 ERA, 1.25 whip. Indicator's not really buying it, but none above 4.4, right? So for me, you got to give this guy, and it's not hatred because my Yankees traded him for Harrison Bader, who's now somewhere else. What an absolute joke. He's playing for the Reds. Oh my God, help us all. I was on a numbers game. Hold on, get to that, Jay. I was on a numbers game screaming out that trade when it happened. Jay asked if we heard what's happening with Manoah. I don't even know. I'm really upset now because one of the things I liked about him was I thought that his strength was like mental toughness and mental acuity. And if you're going to be complaining about demotions and performance and whatever, he's a baby. So yeah, he's finished. So if he's given up, if he gave up on a team, you gave up on him. I wouldn't even. I was kind of thinking about maybe drafting Manoah in these really deep fantasy leagues, right? Where they go 700 players, and then you get a guy like that. Maybe something. No thanks. I don't think he's got it anymore. So Joe Mo kind of gets the just a guy treatment again. Not to bash him. He's doing the things you want him to do. You know what I mean? So again, we're not trying to kill Jordan Montgomery at all. Keeping the ball down, suppressing our contact, but you're not getting a lot of whiffs. The thing I worry in this game is actually, we've talked about the Toronto offense who kind of break their balls, although right now, Toronto Blue Jays leading the league in OBP with 375, in a walk rate, 12.5, 8.5 swing strike, 26 chase rate. Those are all number one in the league. 362 team WOBA, 132 WRC plus. The thing you want to be looking at. Blue Jays top 5 in team WOBA versus lefties last 30, 356. Texas not nearly as good on the WOBA page, but big shaking butt. The reason why you come here for the nuance and the context. The reason why hopefully you rate, review, and subscribe. Or you hopefully press the stupid finger and that stupid bell because they all matter way more than they should. Way more than they should. I look like a Muppet, right? That was like a Kermit the Frog. Texas. Expected WOBA 342 last 30 versus lefties there. They are hitting the ball hard because I have actually heard that today. Player problem is I saw the Donaldson bomb. I can't believe it killed me. Even the Rainmaker. I can't stand that guy. I really can't stand him. I can't stand him. Anyway, so this is one probably to leave, although it should be fun to watch. Because all kidding aside about Kikuchi, 3.57 ERA, 1.25 whip. I mean, had you told me 26K to 7 walk, hey man, 33 chase, 40 ground ball, 1.4 homer 9. Now, granted, the homer 9 is a little bit elevated, right? It's above average. But this is a guy who's really struggled. I think as far as good as he's been at home, he has actually given up the long ball at home, but as of late, he's been very good. Sub 3 XFIP, 3.3 Sierra last 40 days. I'm probably just leaving this one alone, but I wanted to lay it out. The last piece I had on this was, If you do, I don't really have a strong lean. And I like the offenses. I worry about going over because of the quality pitching. You know what? I should have mentioned the over J. Is it like low? I don't always have those on hand. I was wondering if it's 7.5 or 8. Because if it's 7.5 or 8, I think we might want to lean into two things here. Okay, I know I mentioned the pitching. You know what? It is 08. And it's at a decent price. Here, let's hit the 08, and I'm going to explain why. So we mentioned it hitting, right? Both of these teams hitting. Toronto doing it. Discipline, hitting the ball hard, tons of doubles. Texas also same thing, 19K to 11.5 walk, 28 chase, 43 fly ball, 39 hard hit. That's a very poor pairing for Kikuchi, right? Forcing him into the zone, not chasing, they elevate, they hit it hard. But here's kind of the cherry on the cake. Texas last 59 in the third. That bullpen is a 6.4 ERA, 165 whip, 300 batting average on the nose, 13% barrel, 2.7 homer, 9 Hachi, Machi, Liberace. Toronto last 35 innings, 5.6 ERA, 1.7 whip. Wowza. So let's go with this one. If we don't get it early, we'll get it late. Player prop says Kikuchi's goated. I'll give you that. He's been great. But right, it's not beyond him to give up a 2-run shot. So if we can get this one to 2-2 through, I think the bullpens melt. Just absolutely melt. And I'd also be surprised if either one of these starters even make it through the 6th because of the disciplinary stuff on both sides. William Craig hit the first 5 under full game over yesterday on this. Yes, the old over-under 5-2s could do reversal. William Craig, yes, a integral part of the failings here. Appreciate you, WC. I really do. People here that don't tail. And that's the most important thing, which is funny because I did this and I hit my bet and I tweet emojis. Whatever. I only tweet when subscribers send me stuff that makes them really happy. Like, I'm a straight better. So this morning, yeah, I went 4 for 4. I didn't hit a 12.5 to 1. That was someone else. I didn't hit that. Those are not my tickets. My tickets are elsewhere. My tickets are elsewhere. No, I can't always share on mine. Some I have to mule accounts and whatever. It's a long story. Man, if you know, you know. But the people here that are here for the analysis and the, methodology and some of the procedural stuff that will drop. And again, maybe even my mistakes. Because I get called out and I can see this is, part of this. Being porous, right? The kind of door swinging both ways. So we really do appreciate everyone that's been part of the immersive experience. I know something that Jay and I have both really, stressed with each other. That numbers are great, but you got to sustain it, right? The show's analytics are so strong. Like the analysis we do, right? When you pop the hood. Retention rates and watch times and stuff, because the people that get it kind of get it. And I think once you get this, you can't really replace it. It becomes very difficult. And again, I think that's why the level of experience of the average person that listens to the show is probably a lot higher than the other ones. But also, hopefully, we're appealing to some of the more novice bettors. And again, if you have any of those questions, hit us up at Call to the Pen HQ on Twitter. Hit me up at John Laghezza any time of day, any day of the week. And you can DM me, but I'd rather be tagged, although I guess I can't be DM'd by unverified accounts. Tag me. I want you to tag me. I'd rather share the information. In fact, I feel better about that. Sometimes I get locked into DM convos. Trust me, I love you people. I love interacting with people. I'm nobody. I'm nothing. I come from zero. The only thing that kills me is I just spent a half an hour with one person, and we probably should have shared the whole thing. Right, because and again, I would hope that the listener, the follower, would want the same thing. Right, to kind of pay it forward, to share it out, hopefully have it resonate, dropping a pebble in the water. Wow, we are just dropping dimes here. Where else you get it? Call to the Pen HQ, fastest show in MLB. Absolutely freaking anywhere, yo. Next up, it's the New York Yankees. And Clark Bar, holy Schmidt. My boy's looking pretty good. 4.5 ERA, 1.32 whip. Kind of disguises the correction because he was so terrible out of the gate. So we noticed two things here. He had two major problems. Schmidt, my man, the Clark Bar for the Bombers, was really struggling against lefties. Now, those numbers are still pretty bad, though they've corrected. I still have 300 batting average allowed, but those numbers were through the roof. He's also really struggled on the road. This is why I got away from this one. I like this one. I'll tell you where I ended up, and now I'm kind of worrying a bit, but I had to side with the model. Smart. Clark Schmidt is smart. Smart. Okay, 282 batting average allowed on the road, nearly 800 OPS, and a 5.25 ERA, which is not great. However, the xFIP at 4.5, and it's 1 homer 9. You see the 5.25 ERA last 40 days, but all the indicators are at 3.7, right? So I'm going to lean that direction. Houck has struggled. And maybe this is the worry. And where I was leading to is I'm on the under here, Jay. Bring up the F5 under. Frankly, I was like shocked that this was 5.5. I went to go check on multiple books to make sure because I almost didn't want it, but I really had no choice because I've modeled so far below it. Like, just be a coward. I would be close to being under this one on 4.5, to be honest. That's what I'm saying. I have this one at like, those shade over two. Sometimes we hit those 4.5s. We probably hit the 5. I got other 5.5. We move that bad boy. I guess we still have that effect sometimes. That's gonna be tough to get. We got to pay the juice. You got 2 of them up there. I'd go to minus 140, I guess. But man, this feels like my luck. Yeah, Jay, I'll leave it up to you for anybody that knows it's the horns. Jay, I'm gonna leave that one up to you. If you're feeling it, again, if we want to go under, we want to stick with the F5. I know Houck has been trashed. The Yankees are terrible against righties. I mean, all of their production is slanted to the left-hand side. 269 WOBA versus righties, last 3,300 expected. Woof. 195 team batting average, last 500 plate appearances, 650 team OPS. Boston, that's an 81 WRC plus, by the way. 286 team WOBA is disgraceful. That only projects like 3.5 runs. Other side, Boston, 305 team OBP, 700 OPS, 306 WOBA, 87 WRC plus. They're not any good. So I was like way under the 5.5. So I see what you see what these get to, almost to Will's point before, where I'm under on the half game, and then I might hit like the live total over and let this if this one spins off the rails. But really hard to back the Yankees against righties. They're putrid. They really are putrid. The youngsters kind of strike out. We know how though he's kind of burned out a touch. I think maybe the distance is a lot being used as a starter, but I just can't get this one. I'm on the under. All right, we got a few left. I got to hustle up. I talk too much. Holy crap, what a shock. All right, let's not bury the lead. I posted this one for subs. Zach Gallen on a bump for the Snakes with shapes on their back. Those Diamondbacks out in the desert. Minus 145. I ended up getting my hands on the run line, and I think it was like plus 125, and I saw that with Gallen. It was just all over it. Against Paisan, Joey Lucchese on the bump, plus 130 dog. So let's do Gallen just really quick. He's in line for the Cy Young votes as well. 3.3 ERA, 108 whip. 26 K to only 5 walk. 66 first strike. I mean, he's been really good. The ball's been hit hard, but remember, it's on the ground, so that's why those rates aren't disparate. 3 flat ERA last 40 days. He's been excellent. 105 minimum on the plus model, stuff, location, and pitching, which is fantastic. Lucchese is a mega like negative regression candidate. 3.5 ERA, 129 whip. However, K walk ERA is at 5. Expected ERA is at 6. Sierra at 4.9. 10% KBB, 8% swinging strike. A lot of the stuff, we generally attack. Yes, he has a 243 batting average allowed at home, but it's a 5.8 ERA, 5.8 xFIP, nearly 2 homer 9. He had no runs allowed lately, but I'm not buying it. So I've been digging Arizona. We kind of mentioned him as one of those teams that we were pegging for like waking up soon. We'll see. They've struggled a bit against lefties, but I do think the talent is there. Mets offense is whatever. I mean, they're middling right now, let's call it. They strike out too much. They don't take walks. Swing and miss too much. I mean, that's not going to go well against Gallen. And then the Met bullpen is really where we're looking for the separation. So we want the full game run line here if you're going to go for it. Arizona, 2.22 bullpen ERA last 53 innings, which is phenomenal. 1 flat whip. 6 walk, 4% barrel, 0 losses. Flip side to the Mets. 6.11 ERA last 35 innings, 1.7 whip. Yikes, 15% walk, nearly 13% barrel. That's how you lose late in games. I've done very well in full game covers. I bet, go figure, that I never used to post. And I used to run my fat mouth about it all the time. And how it was greedy and it was stupid, but the prices were different. So it's not flip-flopping. Change your mind is not flip-flopping with the introduction of pertinent data. What? Nuance of context pouring. Get your freaking nose when you roll with us. It's always. All right, let's close it out strong. Got a couple left. Oh my goodness. There's up too many games left, Jay. We're going to get an extra 5 again. All right, being really quick. I'm leaving this one alone. I think it's over or nothing. Paulie, Blackburn, the Pirate, Yara on the bump. Plus 230 dogs against the Astros. Blackburn, of course, for the Elephants balancing on beach balls against Hunter Brown, who, like, man, talk about the tale of two seasons. He was so good out of the box. And some of those indicators are still really strong, but if you're rolling him out there, especially at home, you're getting cracked, man. 290 BA allowed at home, 6 ERA in the crib, 8.25 ERA last 40 days. The indicator's not necessarily buying it, but he has really, really struggled. So player props, Avant mentioned Oakland before. Listen, we see again, right, when you were tracking here, we're looking for those trends while we compare 500 PAs to the season. I use other stuff as well. I just don't have room. Oakland strikes out, but they're the sellout team. Top 3 line drive, top 3 barrel. Get your home runs, get your doubles. And that's been the key to scoring runs. Brown has been missing, which is the key to surrendering runs. So I'm a little bit worried. I would never touch the juice here at all. I would not pay the juice with my worst enemies money here. Of course, the model's going to love Houston. You're always going to love Houston. And I did mention Brown having some of those strong indicators, but I'm not going there. For me, this one is over or nothing, and we'll move it on. It's the Royals with cheese. I don't think this one's listed. It was supposed to be Steven Cruz to open it up against Clev Dog, Sunshine, Mike Clevinger again. This one's like over or nothing. I don't know why I didn't post this one. I know I mentioned it on the show. I even was talking about how that one had a chance to run up to $1 million, and that one's like 11-9 the last I saw it, so at least 20 runs in these last night. These offenses are bad, but the pitching is just beyond gross. Cruz has a 7 ERA. Clevinger's is a 3.6, but he's screaming for regression as well. We call this out. This guy's, listen, it's not good. 5.25 xFIP, nearly 5 Sierra. I'm not digging Club Dog at all. Kansas City offense starting to get it going. They're lifting the line drives, getting on base, plus they're stealing. They've shown they can be a tough offense. Also, top 5 hard hit rate. Last 500 PAs, maybe something you don't always expect from the Royals, but because you're hanging out with us. I'm leaving this one alone. Again, I have the White Sox winning on the strength of Clevinger versus Cruz, for whatever that's worth. Also, the Royals bullpen has struggled, even though I like the offense a bit. 4.8 ERA last 50 innings, sub 20 K rate. That's not going to do it. Paired with a 40% hard hit rate, also not any good. White Sox bullpen's just been good as of late. 3.2 ERA last 15 and a third. So the model's on Chicago, but again, sometimes you gotta, step in and say enough is enough. I think the best argument for that is not only one, no bet is better than a bad bet, but 2, it's not like the price is that great. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not that tempting. Like we can get plus 150s in the strikeout market. You can get plus 110s in the F5 market. Like, you know what I mean? So there's really no need to push. If you don't, especially at this point in the year, we're doing very well. There's no need to there's no need to press. No need to press. All right, 2 games left. Let's get out of here. Wrap it up quick. Braxton Garrett on a bump for the Miami Marlins on the road against Trevor McGill and the Brew Crew. I'm really surprised here. I got Garrett at minus 110 with the fish. I got to check McGill's workload. I thought maybe he was only in line for, I don't know, maybe like an inning or 2. He'd been pitching in relief. But I would just want to double check that he hasn't been getting stretched out because his numbers have been good. Now, he's only pitched an inning. I'm not sure who the Brewers are going to follow with that the books like so much. I guess the problem here is, Garrett has had his struggles as we progressed through the season. The 2.25 ERA last 40 days, masking a 5 Sierra, 5K walk ERA. Tons of hard hit balls. I was digging Braxton Garrett. I know we've just seen some couple blow-ups. I guess the book is seeing the split to my Milwaukee against lefties. They've been very good. 370 team Woba versus lefties, 335 expected. But the K a ton of ground balls, not a lot of pull. And part of me kind of likes Garrett in the F5 here. I'll go as far as McGill ahead, but again, it's always, I'm going to be honest, it's always going to struggle with an opener that I don't have backup data for, certain backup data. So I guess I could fade it, but man, I don't know. If you're feeling Randy, baby, do I make you own it, baby? If you're feeling Randy, maybe Marlins F5 is a nice one. I wouldn't go full game. Marlins bullpen struggled. Milwaukee bullpen's been very good. So keep the F5 and the offenses again. I mean, Milwaukee offense is better than the Marlins right now. I'm not trying to misframe that, but Milwaukee's offense is not that good. It's not that good. All right, last up. These are just watch-ems for me. Wakey, eggs and Blakey on the bump. Blake Snell plus 115, dog on the road against Ryan Pepio. And the Dodgers, man, Pepio and the Dodgers getting crazy respect. Jay, what's the F5 price on the Padres? Come on. If we can get Cy Young Snell, if we can get Cy Snell and run, we have to bet that. You know what I mean? That's really. Oh, okay, that's interesting. There's some mixes here, right? One of the books actually has it flipped. I see that. That's really interesting. Yeah, you got to go to 150 to get the run. I guess if we want to, let me see if I can get algo agreement on Snell, which I don't have. Again, the books. Las Vegas books are sharp, people. Again, that was my gut, thinking it would have Snell above it. I have Pepio and the Dodgers ahead. I have Pepio and the Dodgers winning. I thought I'd just like Snell in the price, so I guess I'll just leave it. Again, I was running my mouth about trying not to be too cute, but I really like when the analysis is in a stronger spot, right? I'd rather convince myself, right? This is something I used to talk about all the time on Cork Stats, right? Every single bet is like a case representing to the judge. And it has to pass scrutiny, and we should open it to scrutiny and not trying to. Yes, we want to convince, but we need to have it picked at also, right? You need to do that, and the door swings both ways. That would double up the scrutiny. I mean, it's algo based, and Pepio's been fantastic. And Snell is wild at points. The Dodgers also hit lefties. I mean, the Padres have been hitting also. They're not as good as the Dodger offense. Is just unbelievable. They just find anybody, Jason Hayward, Miguel Rojas, and Ahmad Mirzara, fine, whatever. All-stars. And, seriously? Then Outman came up. He was awesome, and he stunk. We were all like, yeah, take that, stupid Dodgers. And now Outman is awesome again. They're like, oh, yeah, just they build from within and take your trash. And so, whatever. Every time I seem to go against the Dodgers, I get stung. I think it happened to me yesterday when against the Braves, and right against stung, it happens. So, I'm going to not do that. Jay, show them today's bets. I think we have a couple of them in there, I think. Gosh, I hope. We have a bet today. Man, I didn't really get to early on. But I wonder if we could spin something. You want to do a quick a money line thing? I got some money line stuff. I got 3 of them. Taj Mahal, Bradley, Tampa Bay going to face Minnesota, Dallas, Keuchel. You got to like Tampa there. The Cubs are in Colorado. I think they bounce back against Tyson Block. And then I like Kyle Harrison and the Giants against Logan Allen and the Guardians. You want to add those 3 up? I get you for plus 400. Get you a little part. This is the afternoon, people. So these are early games, so it's a little early afternoon parlay. Boo, skyrockets in flight, boo. Do a little afternoon delight, J&J from cold to the pen. And let's get out of here, everybody. That'll do it. Fastest show in MLB, absolutely anywhere. Keep an eye out for the football stuff, man. I got my betting stuff and my data sheets are all today. Jay, I finished them yesterday. They're dope. Go figure, they're dope. Dope. So if you're into any kind of fantasy or prop betting or betting at all, I mean, they're so good. You know me, just like the baseball sheets, everything concise, everything in one spot. Look for Jay on all the Hammer networks, Forward Progress, myself on Fridays. Make sure you're following Jay on Twitter, Call to the Pen HQ on Twitter, and then again, Rob Pizzol and all the affiliated networks as we make the move over to football. Player prompt, looking at you, waiting for my invite to get some football stuff. I am just chomping at the bit to do some game coverage. I don't have that coming out anywhere. So I'm flying solo on that avenue. And that'll do it, everybody. Check out the Twitter handle. Delani, thank you. We appreciate you. We appreciate your thirst for growth. And hopefully, even though you will not care about, Giants Rays tomorrow, nor should you, hopefully there's something, man, that you're like, yo, that guy just left me with something, man. This show got me, and you want to get better. That's really important. That's really, really, really important that you're experiencing some kind of growth, putting the time on this earth to use, right? And you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to be a part of that. Talk about flattering. So thanks for picking up what we're putting down here. Enjoy the games. Enjoy your day. When we done with the book, enjoy the pay. And remember, when you work this hard, there's a lot less luck, yo. Peace out.